The Inquisition is the single most powerful organization within the Imperium of Man. Inquisitors are tasked with investigating any and all potential threats to humanity, be it of the heretic, the alien, or the demon. Within the Inquisition itself are several ordos, each dedicated to a specific purpose. 3 of them are declared Ordo Majoris, the most powerful and infamous branches of the organization. The Ordo Hereticus investigates and roots out mutation, unsanctioned psychers, and heresy, while at the same time policing the religious organization of the ecclesiarchy. And to this end, the Ordo frequently utilizes the services of the Sisters of the Adeptus Astartes as their militant arm. The Ordo Xenos is dedicated to rooting out alien influence and plots against the Imperium, and will usually utilize the Death Watch for this purpose, a unique Space Marine chapter whose members are drawn across from all other chapters. The Ordo Malleus seeks out demonic corruption and activity, and to this end utilizes the Grey Knight Space Marine chapter as their militant arm, a chapter created purely for the sole purpose of combating demonic incursion. While these branches of the Inquisition all have a unique and specialized militant arm, the Inquisition as a whole can also call upon the services of the Red Hunters Space Marine chapter, who were rumoured to have been founded following the events of the Horus Heresy, for the sole purpose of combating heretic Astartes from the traitor legions should the need arise. All Inquisitors will start their career as an acolyte, as part of an Inquisitor's retinue, as either a warrior, a scribe, or even an interrogator. If an acolyte proves themselves worthy, or an incredibly valued asset to the Ordo, then they themselves can be made into a fully fledged Inquisitor, providing that they have the approval of at least 3 Inquisitors or an Inquisitorial Lord. Most Inquisitors will be regular, unaugmented humans, although generally most will have an incredibly high psychic potential. Although this rule of recruitment does allow the possibility of tech adepts and even mutants to be made into fully fledged Inquisitors. But what about Astartes? Could they be made into Inquisitors? Without a doubt, yes, but are there any examples? One possible example is the Inquisitor Hector Rex of the Ordo Malleus. When Hector Rex was a child, he was inducted into the Adeptus Astartes, the organisation responsible for the training of Imperial Psychers. However, Hector Rex was shown to have a far greater potential than the other students, and this, combined with his young age, resulted in him being selected for genetic augmentation, before being handed over to the Inquisition to be made into an acolyte. Now, while this genetic augmentation is not explicitly stated to be the same type that Space Marine aspirants undergo, it seems a reasonable enough assumption, however, that it is, due in part to that Hector Rex grew to be an extremely large individual, around 8 feet in height, putting him on the same level as other Astartes, especially when one takes into account that Hector Rex underwent genetic augmentation at a young age, which is similar to what Space Marine aspirants undergo when the gene seed implantation process begins. Given his link to the Ordo Malleus, the gene seed used in Hector Rex's augmentation could presumably be the same one utilised in the creation of aspirant Grey Knights, although there is also the possibility that the gene seed used actually came from the Red Hunters Space Marine chapter due to their close ties with the Inquisition. Although that being said, there is always the possibility that Hector Rex's augmentations are similar to those found in false Astartes, warriors who were too old to undergo gene seed implantation and physically altered to become Astartes of a sort through the use of surgical alteration, chemical enhancement, and the use of bionics, such as Luther of the Dark Angels or Cortheron of the Word Bearers during the Great Crusade. Another example is the Inquisitor Septimus Grimm. Grimm disguised himself as a Black Templar Space Marine known as Brother Gideon under the command of Captain Malachi, tasked with recovering survivors of a Sororitas strike force led by the Inquisitor Silas Hand. As it turned out, the only survivor the Black Templars encountered was Sister Ephrael Stern. During Malachi's interrogation of Ephrael Stern, Grimm discovered that Captain Malachi had fallen to chaotic corruption, and was in fact the thrall of the ecclesiarchal cardinal Soraya, who was in actuality the disguised form of a demon of the chaos god Slanesh. Grimm would duel Malachi, managing to best the traitor before joining Ephrael Stern in their attempts to banish the demon. However, Grimm would eventually be killed by Soraya and Captain Malachi, but not before mortally wounding Malachi and carving bloody chunks out of Soraya. Given the fact that Grimm was not only able to hold his own in combat with an Astartes captain, but also convincingly hide amongst the warriors of the Black Templars without arousing suspicion, seems to strongly indicate to Grimm being a former Astartes turned Inquisitor. In addition, when fighting Soraya, Grimm issues the following threat:
"In the name of the All-Father, I spit at thee."
All-Father is a term used almost exclusively by the warriors of the Space Wolves chapter of the Adeptus Astartes, a term used to describe the Emperor of Mankind in their native tongue. Plus, it must be noted that the name Grimm is very evocative of other Fenrisian names, such as Logan Grimnar and Ulrich Grimfang, although on the other hand, the name Septimus is not. However, there is nothing against the idea that Grimm could have taken on a new name upon being made into an Inquisitor, similar to what occurred during the events of the old Dark Angel story, The Tale of Two Heads Talking, which mentioned that the warrior known as Cloud Runner took on the name Ezekiel when he became a battle brother of the Dark Angels chapter. As stated, there is nothing to prevent an Astartes to eventually become an Inquisitor, although admittedly, the individuals who might eventually become Inquisitors may have either become Black Shields, individuals who sever all ties with their parent chapter, or those individuals who, by some quirk of fate, end up being the sole survivor of a lost and destroyed chapter. This is mainly due in part to the fact that Astartes who abandon their duties to the chapter are declared as heretics and, for the most part, hunted down. The only major exceptions in this regard would be the Grey Knights, Death Watch, and Red Hunters Space Marine chapters, due in part to their close ties and unique relationships with the Inquisition as a whole. What do you think about Space Marine Inquisitors? Leave a comment below, and thanks for watching.